Today I'm going to do a book review of The Man with No Face by Peter May. Hello everyone, my name is Harmony. If you're a new viewer, welcome, or if you're a returning viewer, welcome back. On this channel I talk about books, book reviews, and any other reading related things I can think of. Today I'm going to do a book review of The Man with No Face by Peter May. Now this book originally was published in the 1970s, but I read the republished version, which I wanted to say was republished in like 2014, although don't quote me on that. And Autumn has a lot to say today, so excuse him, but yeah, he will be here. Right, Autumn. Yeah, so this story is set primarily in Belgium, and a murder takes place, and it is witnessed by only one person, who is an autistic child, the daughter of one of the men who has just been killed. And that is somebody who the murderer, the man who commits the crime, doesn't expect to be there. Now, this book is written in an interesting sort of way. It's not like Peter May's later books, where he'll do a third person present main character point of view type thing, and then go back and do a first person memory narrative, if you like where one of the characters will tell you their own memories or that sort of thing. In this book we get third person from different points of view. So we actually start out with the killer's point of view, which I don't think I've seen done very much before. In any book, really. So we see the person, we see the killer getting hired to do the murder, and given his instructions, so on. But then throughout the story we flip back and forth between him and a third person narrative from the point of view of various characters, like one of the journalists, yeah, I guess you could say one of the journalists who is friends with one of the men who is murdered and stays at his apartment and everything. And we get bits of one or two other points of view as well, but it's mainly going back and forth between them. yeah, so I find it rather interesting. Um, Now this autistic girl, she remembers every detail of the crime that's been committed, including the eyes of the murderer, but she doesn't actually remember any of the other facial features apart from the eyes. And so, yeah, that was an interesting one. Um, so she is a non-verbal character, but she communicates a lot through um, drawing, and she can write a bit, but not very well. She could, so she'll draw things or she'll point at things and so on. But because there's not really anyone to take care of her immediately, she's, for various reasons, put into a I don't know if you could call it mental hospital, but that kind of situation for children. And because she's been witness to the crime, one of the murderer's instructions is to also kill the child before he'll get his money for doing that, doing the murder. And so one of the points of view is also from the point of view of this child. So thankfully, as Peter May himself says, attitudes towards autism and various other things have changed a lot in the last 30 odd years, 30, 40 years. But even so, yeah, it's it's one of those stories that, again, I just couldn't stop reading because, well, Peter May. He is, as ever, a fantastic writer. And it's really hard to review books like this without spoiling them. But when the book was originally written, it was written at a time when, of course, there was not really any computers, or none that were widely used anyway. So people had to go directly to the people and places that they wanted to find out about in order to get their news stories or their whatever information it was that they were looking for. And something that I found a little bit pointless though was there's this character in one of the offices who is a typist who essentially doesn't really do anything. Like she doesn't even have a purpose apart from to bring sandwiches or just sit there basically. And I think to myself, what is the point of that character? Because she's not even typing anything meaningful. Like, at first I thought, oh, maybe she types up manuscripts or something into proper reports. Like, does something of that sort, but nope. So yeah, that was a character that I thought didn't need to be there because it didn't add anything to the story. Yeah, in general though, it was a bit of an intriguing ending to the story as well, because you go through it, obviously we know as the reader who committed the crime, but the characters don't, apart from obviously the man himself, one or two others, but yeah, mostly the people don't know who did it, and so I'm thinking to myself, that's gotta be just interesting, because like that's gotta be something, because well, the guy that did the crime is right there in front of you, you don't even notice. Yeah. Yeah, and of course the crime is eventually solved, but in a very roundabout way. So the murderer does catch up with the child that saw him when she's about to catch the plane back to Scotland, where her family originally lived before she and her dad moved to Belgium. And so he's yeah, she's shot by this murderer, but he doesn't actually kill her. He just injures her such that she ends up in hospital, like having surgery and whatnot. But he, as a result of that, is shot dead by airport security guards who have more powerful guns of their own than what he does. yeah, so that's quite a dramatic, well, that's not quite the ending of the story, but yeah, that's quite the dramatic twist. I hope I haven't spoiled the storyline for anybody that wants to read it. Yeah, if you enjoyed this book review, feel free to take a look at my other videos in this book reviews playlist, or or you can feel free to comment, like, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you all in the next video.